rich in sound. Hallelujah. We set the order. I believe we set the cutting edge and bring in the sound. We're gatekeepers, what God has for us in this region. If you need a Bible, please raise your hand. Hi, please raise your hand. We have our gatekeepers. Amen. They will give you a Bible to use. But at this time, I want to ask us to stand as we celebrate this elder in the Lord's church. Amen. Amen. This great woman of God, she's going to come with power and authority. Amen. Come your own way, pull on her anointing. Let's celebrate Elder Lois to have her speak this morning. Amen.
Amen. I just want to pray for her before we begin. So, Father God, I just thank you for Elder Lois. I thank you for the word that you already put into her lips, God, that has been bubbling already on the inside. And I just thank you that there's an ease and a grace in releasing this word on today. And we know that it will be full of power and full of authority. And so, God, I just pray, God, that you would word her mouth, that the words of her mouth, the meditation of her heart, God, will be acceptable unto you. And so we thank you for just a peace in her spirit as she releases this word to us on today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Father, we just thank you for the word and all that you get ready to do in this time. Father, we just thank you, Father God. We just ask you to allow me to decrease, Father, that you might increase, and that your word would go forth with power and authority. In Jesus' name, and we thank you. Amen. Let me see it. Awesome worship today. Awesome. We're talking about Warfare Sunday. Powerful. God is getting ready to do some powerful things in this season that we are in right now. And when we're talking about warfare worship, we have to be able to maintain the warfare that we started on today. Because you got to understand that God started something today. But even as he started it, you have to be able to maintain what God has already started. Because, we know for a fact that when we was kids even, and when you was getting ready to fight, they put that black on your shoulder right here, and they said, I dare you to knock it off. And one thing about it, if you was brave enough to knock it off, then that means you better be ready to do something.
That's right.
Lord, you better be ready to fight. You better come with it. So today, we decreed and declared to the enemy today that we decreed war. We decreed war unto the enemy today. But the thing about it is we got to be ready. And we got to be geared up to be able to continue the war that we have started. Because we started something in here today. Okay? We started it. But now you need some things, some substance that's going to be able to have you to let you to stand and cause you to stand. Because don't think he ain't coming. He's coming with everything that is within him. He's coming. Because like I said, when you're ready to throw some punches, you better be ready to fight. And I mean you better be ready to fight for real. Because it's coming forward. It's coming forward. So today, we're going to talk about prayer. Because we know for a fact that prayer is a powerful and effective tool. And it's so powerful and effective that without prayer, we have nothing. There's nothing, but prayer is your foundation. And without that proper foundation, if we're not able to build a proper foundation, then we don't have anything. That means we're not solid and we're not solidified in nothing that we do. But we have to be able to be solid. And in order to be able to be solid, we got to have a foundation in prayer.
That's it.
Because prayer is one of the most powerful tools that we can even possess, that we can even have. It's a powerful tool. And last Friday, the young lady came and she talked about the 3 little pigs. And that was a powerful analogy that she gave talking about the 3 little pigs. And so today we're going to use that even today in prayer. Okay. Because we know for a fact that you must have, in order to have a solid foundation, you have to be prayed out. That's right. You have to be able to pray out your foundation. Anything that you do in this time, anything that you do in your ministry, you must first pray it out. Amen. Because if you don't take the time to be able to pray it out and spend that time with the Lord in prayer, so he can be able to direct you, that he can be able to guide you, that he can be able to lead you. If you don't spend that time in prayer, amen, to be able to make that foundation solid, then you messed up. You can be just like those 3 little pigs. First of all, there was one when you don't take the time to just give God your best and to spend that time with the Lord. Then you're not building your foundation solid. So when the wind and the rain and the enemy come up against you, and when he start blowing, and when he start hissing, and when he start coming at you, when he start throwing those fiery dots, what do you have? What do you have to be able to sustain you? Because no prayer, no glory. No glory, no prayer. That's right. Amen. So in order for you to be able to have that, in order for you to be able to accomplish and to effectually accomplish the things that God had told you to do, you got to have a prayer life. That's right. You got to have a prayer life. Because if you don't, you will not be able to accomplish the things which God has called you to. You will not be able to. And you will be like the 3 little pigs. Your foundation will be built on sand. Or it'll be built on straws. Because you haven't took the time to even just call on the name of the Lord. Because when we have that relationship with Jesus Christ, it does wonders for our spirits. It does wonders for our soul. Because God, he will direct your path. And this is the day and time that we really need him to be able to direct our path. Right. We cannot do this thing by ourselves. Amen. We cannot go on our own. This is the reason why we have prayer. Because the solution that you tried to do, it didn't work. The solution that you had, that you thought you had, by yourself, because no man is an island. We do not stand alone today, but we need the power of God to be able to direct us. To be able to accomplish that which God has called us to accomplish. And just like those 3 little pigs, some of them, they spent their time doing other things. Because we go back to that, they thought they can do it on their own. And so they went their own way. And they did what they thought was best. But never having a prayer life, never seeking the Lord for anything, but just going on. Thinking that, oh man, the mindset that I have. You know, because we can have education. We can have the makeup of a righteous person. And we can look the part. We can act the part. We can even dress the part. And we can fool some folks. You see what I'm saying? But when the wind and the storm come, when the storm of life come upon you and start beating you down and start knocking at your door, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Where is your protection? Amen. Where's your protection? Your protection should have been in the Word of God. And your protection should have been in prayer. But you waste time foolishly. Right. Yes. Thinking that I had it all together. Right. I can do this. It don't take much. There's nothing to it. I can do this. And then you find yourself in a place of agony. In a place of messed up. Because now the enemy has came. And he has required those things of you that you should have got in prayer. And he's coming forth and he's calling you out. Wow. He's calling you out now. And what shouted and we made a great mark, but we have to have something to be able to stand on. We got to have some backbone. We got to be able to have some substance within ourselves. We got to be able to have some power to be able to take us to the next level. You got to be able to stand, because we know that the enemy, he is a liar, and he is a deceiver, and he comes to you with lies on lies on lies on lies. Why? Because he's a deceiver. And the first thing he comes to do is to deceive you and to throw you off of your game. He comes to throw you off of your game. And if you're not built up in your most holy faith, if you're not built up in prayer, then he can fool you. And he'll be able to do just what he set out to do. But let's look at prayer. And we know for a fact, in order for us to be accomplished and effective in God, we have to be able to have a life called out, called out, prayed out, hewed out before the Lord. Have to have a life. You can't do it no other way. It has to be. And we know for a fact today, we're living in the time today when anybody speak of the word of prayer. Everybody's scattered. Everybody's scattered. Nobody wants to come to prayer. Nobody wants to even have a part in prayer. And who do you think is behind all of that? Who do you think is behind that? Who do you think got you in a state where you think, oh, I don't need it. I'm okay. I can do without it. It's okay. I can just pray for 5 minutes at home and everything's fine. I don't need that. Because who do you think is behind it? The enemy. He's trying to weaken your defenses. He's trying to weaken your defenses. That's exactly what he come to do, is to weaken your defenses. So you have nothing to fight with. You're defenseless against the attack of the enemy. You're defenseless. So what we have to do, we have to learn how to sharpen our offenses. We have to learn how to sharpen our offenses. We have to get those offenses together so we can be able to fight, so that we can be able to stand in the evil days, so that we can be able to be alert, to be sober-minded. Because you know what? When we are sober-minded in the spirit, then the Lord, he will cause your spiritual antennas to come up. When you are in the midst of danger, he will just cause you, just nudge you in your spirit, and you will know that something ain't right about this place. Something ain't right about this place. You can walk into a place in the spirit of discernment will hit you so strong.
Yeah, come on now.
But in order for that to happen, you got to have a prayed out life. Your life got to be able to be hewed out to the Lord. And that spirit of discernment will hit you, and it will allow you to know and to see that, wait a minute, something ain't right up in here.
Come on, man.
Something ain't right here. And it will talk to you. And it will just shake you. And it will cause your spirit to be alert. Because we are living in a dangerous time today. And it is not time for us to sleep in this hour.
You're right about that.
And if we're sleeping in this hour, my God, you might not be able to wake up. Sleeping in this hour is a dangerous thing. And you might not be able to wake up. So we need to be sober-minded. You need to be alert. You need to have your spirit and that spiritual discernment, because it discerns betwixt and between good and evil. So that you will be able to know and to recognize anything and everything that is happening in your life. Everything and anything that is happening around you. You can't be sleeping. You can't be sleeping. You have to be alert, because the enemy is like a devouring lion. He's walking to and fro. A roaring lion walking to and fro, seeking who he might devour. So he's out here. He's not your friend. He don't like you at all.
That's so true.
He don't like you at all. Okay? So do not think that he likes you. Do not think that he is on your side, because he is not your friend.
That's good.
So it's time now that we will wake up, and that we will cause that spiritual discernment to come in. And when we call that spiritual discernment to come in, then we will make sure that we build our house on a solid foundation. And we won't be like the three little pigs when the enemy come and the perils of life come to knock and the wind start blowing and it gets so hard. And then the next thing we know, we don't have no defense mechanism. We don't have no defense mechanism. We don't have nothing. And we find ourselves in a place where we are naked. Where we are naked and we are disarmed. But we want to be able to find ourselves to be armed and dangerous. Armed and dangerous. And this is what we're talking about, a spiritual warfare today. You want to be able to be armed and dangerous. You don't want to find yourself defenseless out here.
That's right. Yes.
You don't want to be naked. You don't want to be powerless. But it's time that we take the authority that God has given unto us. Take the authority that he has placed within our lives.
Yes.
And not afraid to take that authority and run with it.
Yes.
And to speak those things that are not as though they are.
Amen.
And to speak out the things that God has put in the inside of us.
Yes.
And to stand firm boldly and decree and declare that we are more than a conqueror today.
Yes.
Because we are. We are more than a conqueror today.
Amen.
But one thing about the enemy, he wants you to be, to not to know who you are. It's very important in this season that we know who we are. Because the enemy comes and he wants you to have a mistaken identity.
Wow.
He will cause you to have a mistaken identity. And why? Because he comes to you and he talks to you about who you are. And a lot of times we believe it. We start listening and we start putting ourselves down and we start looking, Lord, is this really what you're saying about me? Lord, am I this? Am I that? When God said that you are more than a conqueror. When God said, and he let you know who you were from the very beginning, that you was called, that you was hewed out for his purpose and his glory, but the enemy will come and he will bring all kind of lies to you, and he will talk to your mind, because we know for a fact that that's where the battle is. The battle is in the mind. And we talk about the battlefield of the mind all the time. It's a battlefield. We're in a real war today. We fight the real enemy. We ain't playing no games up here. It's time to fight. The war is real. It is real. Fighting time is now. You better put on the whole armor of God so that you might be able to withstand in these evil days. And we know for a fact that the evil days are already here. We're not going to say that they're coming, but they are already here. And you need some power to be able to sustain in this hour. How many times do the enemy come and he talks to your mind? And he gets you by yourself. And he gets you alone. And he gets you all. Where you know you're not around nobody. And he talks to you. And he talks to you. And he talks to you. And he brings all kind of crazy things to your mind. And he brings all kind of crazy things to your remembrance. And the next thing you know, you start listening. And you start turning an ear. And you start listening to what the devil's saying. And now he done got you with a mistaken identity. Because he's telling you, oh, are you sure you're the king? You the son of the king? Are you sure you the king's kid? Why do he do that? Because he pull up everything that's been happening in your life. He bring up every single disappointment that you done been through. He bring it all up. And he throw it in your face. And he dangling it like a piece of meat in front of a hungry lion.
That's right.
Right there.
That's so true.
Every bit of disappointment.
That's right.
Every bit of shame.
That's right.
Every bit of everything that you done did in life.
Yes.
Now you done forgot all about the fact that God has erased that stuff. He has erased it. He has come and he has forgiven. And he said, I throw it in the sea of forgiveness, never to bring it up again.
That's right.
But the enemy gonna always keep it before your face.
Yes.
And now he got you with mistaken identity because now you doubting who you are.
Come on now.
Now you doubting who you are. Now you doubting who you serve. It don't even matter that yesterday God did a miracle for you.
Come on now. Come on now.
Or the day before that where he did some things on your behalf. You done forgot all about that.
Wow.
All about the things that he have already did. And you go to listening, tuning the ear into the enemy, and listening to the ploys that he has and the things that he has said. And the next thing you know, so in order for you to be able to come back, you need to pray.
Come on now.
You need to pray. Because prayer helps you to be able to solidify who you really is. And brings you back to your original intent of what God had for you from the very beginning. It brings you back in. It calls you to come back into focus. It reels you in.
Yes. Yes.
But if you don't have a prayer life, you ain't got nothing to reel you in. You just out there. You out there hanging. You don't have anything to be able to reel you in. My God, because we take so many things for granted. And sometimes we take prayer for granted. Oh, I don't really have to pray. Oh, I just give it a minute or two. And it's okay. But really and truly, you don't even know whose life you're saving. We have to learn how to be obedient to the cause of Christ. Because you never know what's going on. You don't know what's going on in the heavenlies. You don't know. It's a war. She was just talking about a war going on in the heavenlies.
That's right.
And you better know it is. It's a war going on in the heavenlies. But you have the power and the authority through prayer to be able to stop some things from happening before it can even have the chance and the opportunity to manifest itself down here. You have that authority. You have that power through prayer to be able to cut it off and to stop it and cause it not to come forth. But we have to be able to use it. And we have to know who we are. Stop letting the enemy to make you have a mistaken identity. But know who you are. Know who you are. And just don't know who you are, but stand on it. Claim it.
Come on
Hold
now.
up to who you are.
Amen.
Because a lot of times we don't. We get all wishy-washy, we get all mixed up. And if God said that you're a prophet, if he said you're an apostle, if he said you're an evangelist, whatever it is that he said that you are, you must own it. You have to own that thing. Because it's not going to manifest until you own it.
You better say it.
And if you're not ready to own it, you're not ready to handle it.
Amen.
So you need to be able to own it.
Good.
And it's time that we own up to who God said we are. And stop having mistaken identity. Stop listening. Don't give an ear to the enemy. Know who you are. Stand on that thing. Own it. Because if you own it enough, it become a part of you. It become a part of you. And you start believing it. And you start receiving it. And you start moving in it. And you start growing in that thing of who you are. But you first got to own it.
Amen.
And if you're ashamed to own it, then you can't have it. It's not yours.
Amen.
It's not yours. It's not yours. Now we know for a fact that sometimes we hear most people say that the enemy moves at midnight. That at 12 o'clock, some people call it the bewitching hour. They say that's the most vulnerable time that the enemy plots and he plans and he come after you. But we're going to look at a scenario. where there was Paul and Silas.
Come on now.
And they took that midnight.
Come on now.
And they turned that midnight around.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
So,
Right. That's good.
now, yes, the enemy might plot, he might plan, he might come after you, because we know for a fact that he strategizes. He neither slumber or sleep, but he's planning against you at all times.
Yes, he is.
Okay? So now, what do that tell us as Christians? What do that tell us as saved and sanctified people of God? Powerful people that walks in authority. That tells us that we too have to be able to plan. We too have to be able to strategize. We too have to be able to turn that thing around. So now when we look at Paul and Silas, and here's midnight.
All right.
Now midnight was supposed to be the bewitching hour for Satan. But they took, now they was in prison.
Okay.
But the thing about it was, even though they were in prison and they were bound,
Right.
but they were not defeated.
Amen.
Right.
They were not defeated.
They were not defeated.
So at midnight,
That's good.
they struck up a praise unto the Lord. And they start singing.
Yeah.
And they start praying.
Uh-huh.
And they just start praising God and giving him all that they had. And even though they were in the situation that they were in, they were bound, they were changed. No doubt the condition of the prison wasn't great. Who want to be bound? Who want to be chained? Who want to be in a dark hole? You can just imagine the things that could have been going on in that prison. And they had a right to be dismayed. They had a right to be upset. They had a right to be all of that, but they wasn't. Because they made up in their mind that the enemy is not going to defeat us.
Right.
He's not going to be able to defeat us.
Man, that's good.
We're going to take it back. We taking this hour back. And they did. And they prayed. And they sung praises unto the Lord. And the Bible said that as they prayed and they sung praises unto the Lord, that everybody's band was loosed. Now let's talk about that. Let's think about that. When he said that everybody's band was loosed,
Right. That's good.
they had to have a mighty praise.
Yeah.
They had to have the power for praise. They lit that place up with praise and worship. And the power and the glory of God rose up in that house like never before. And here they was in prison to the point that everybody's band was loose. Now let's think about everybody.
Come on now.
Now I'm pretty sure there were some people in that place that might have deserved to be there.
Right.
Okay?
Come on now.
Now, I'm pretty sure that everybody in that house wasn't saved. I'm pretty sure that everybody in that prison wasn't delivered.
That's right. Come on.
But the power of praise and worship, the power of praise and worship, it calls everybody.
You better say everybody.
Bands to be loose. Even the sinners, because you know what? And I'm just thinking to myself that they might have thought to themselves that, wait a minute, there's something going on here. When they heard the power of God moving, and they saw everything that was happening, and they heard the praises go forth, and I believe they thought to themselves, sinner or not, I got to get in the press. I need to get in the midst of that thing.
Wow.
And they joined in. And because they did, everybody, bands, was loosed. They was freed. There was a spirit of freedom that came up in the place.
Yes.
And it loosed the bands of everybody. So that let us know that when we are in praise and worship, that praise and worship is also a part of prayer.
That's good.
And when we come into praise and worship,
Part of prayer. Amen.
no matter what day we had, no matter what week we had, No matter what happened on the way to church. Because we know the enemy come even before church time. And he tries to get you off of your rock. He tries to get you off of your game. Because he wants you when you get to church to be mad, to be upset, to be all messed up, all discombobulated and everything else. He wants you to be messed up so that you can't come in and enjoy what God has for you. That you got a closed mind and you cannot come in to get the things that God wants you to have.
That's good. That's so true.
That's what he do.
That's true.
That's what he do. But in spite of that, if we even thought, and we come into praise and worship, because praise and worship, it sets the atmosphere for God to come in and work. It sets the atmosphere for God to come in and for him to work on our behalf. It sets the atmosphere for God to come in and loose your bounds. Okay? If you come in praising and worship and giving him all that you have. Because we can't come in bound. We can't come in all messed up and our mindset is somewhere else. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. But you have to be able to be open-minded to allow God to come in and change some things. Because when we look at this, even the sinners, even the people that were supposed to be in their prison, they had to be open-minded. Enough to be able to allow God to change and to turn some things around in order for their bands to be loose. Because I believe within myself that if they wasn't open-minded, and if they wasn't ready, and if they didn't have the mindset or maybe a spirit of repentance that had came on them, then maybe their bands would have been loose. Maybe God would have just loosed the people that was in his company, that was of his. But he said everybody's band was loose. And so now, this lets us know that we serve an awesome God. And that we serve a mighty God. But when we come in, and when we come into praise and worship, because there's so much deeper in praise and worship. There's so many things that we haven't even tapped into.
You say that. Amen.
And Mom said a little bit about it today, that you just don't want to come in with the same experience every time.
Amen.
I want to be able to come in and experience something new every time I step in this house. I want to be able to be so free in my spirit, to be who I am, that oh man, that I have a party in the Lord. Just a good time, expecting something new to happen, expecting something different to come forth every day of your life. Every time you enter into the house of the Lord. Because God is great. But if you don't come expecting, then what are you going to get? What are you going to get? We have to be able to open up ourselves. Open ourselves up. And we got to come expecting. And we got to come expecting. Because there's a flow in the spirit, I tell you. There's a flow in the spirit. When we come in, and our praise is undefiled, and our praise is pure unto the Lord, everybody's band can be loosened. Everybody's band can be loosened. It don't matter what you're going through. It don't matter what you're facing on today. But God will be able to loose you. You will not leave this place the same way you came in. But it's you. You have to make up in your mind that you want it. You have to be the one to make up in your mind that you want it. And that you want God to do something great for you. Because I'm telling you, there's a movement. There's a movement in the spirit. There's a movement in the spirit that God is doing. And it talks, and we're talking about praise and worship when they come in undefiled. But I heard the Lord say, even on yesterday, as he was downloading, he said, "For there is a greater movement that God is perfecting at Greater Faith Empowerment Center." A greater movement. And God is perfecting that thing. And one thing about it, you don't want to be left behind.
That's it.
You want to be in the movement. You want to be in the movement. What God is doing. And not only is he perfecting it, he said, but there's a greater movement that he is perfecting at GFEC. For For his house is not a stagnated house. But this house is not a stagnated house, but a constant flow of what God is doing in prayer. That's going to cause this land to flourish in the purpose of God for prayer.
That's good. That's good.
He gave me that. I said, Lord, thank you. Because we want to be a part of that. So this lets us know that things are not going to be the same.
Amen.
God is perfecting some things. He's causing some things to happen. He's causing a greater movement. A greater movement. Now there's already a movement, but he said a greater.
Yes.
He's calling forth a greater movement.
Yes.
So it's not going to be the same as always. But things are getting ready to be greater. And it's getting ready to change. And it's going to get ready for a constant flow of what the Lord is getting ready to do. Because he's getting ready to do some things. There's some changes about to be made.
Yes.
And God is getting ready to turn some things around.
Yes.
And the promises of God for prayer. For we know that prayer is the portal that brings the power of heaven down to earth. Okay? Let's say that again. Prayer is the portal that brings the power of heaven down to earth. It's the portal. There's a door that is open. And then we're going to go a step further and say it is the kryptonite.
All right.
To the enemy.
Amen.
And to all his plot against us. And we know, the when we watch Superman. And we know when they bring that kryptonite around, he can't stand it. So it's going to be the same way with the enemy. For your prayer. Your prayer is like that kryptonite that's going to cause the enemy not to be able to stand. He can't function. He's not going to be able to function like he used to be able to function in your life. Like he was functioning in your life before. Now he's not going to be able to function like that anymore. Because prayer is coming forth and it's going to be that kryptonite. And it's going to cause him all the plots and the plans and all the things that he have against us. It's going to be diminished. It's going to cause some of those things to fall. But we pray because our own solution don't work.
Amen.
And it because prayer deploys. It activates. And it fortifies us. It fortifies us against the attack of the enemy. So in other words, just like we girded up today, in our fatigues, it gets us ready for battle.
Right.
It strengthens us so that we are ready to go out and do the battle. It fortifies us, it deploys, it gets us ready against the attack of the enemy. It calls you to become military. It calls you to gird yourself up in prayer and be ready for anything that comes your way.
Amen.
The power of prayer. And you gird up and you ready. So you ready to go out your door and say, Satan, I'm ready today. Whatever you bringing against me, it's going to be war. We're going to fight this day. I'm coming with everything that God gave me, the power of everything that God gave me. I'm coming. And the thing about it is, when you are built up in prayer, you are ready and you are not afraid.
Amen.
You are ready and you are not afraid. But within you, because you have built yourself up in your faith. And you're ready for whatever he can bring your way. You ready. You're ready to give him just what you have. So we pray because we are serious about taking back the grounds that the enemy has sought to take from us. So this is the reason for our prayer as well. Because we're taking the grounds back. Don't you want to take back what the enemy have tried to steal from you?
Come on now.
Or do we want to just sit idle and let him do it? And let him just snatch. And it's so important that we know who we are. And so, even with that, God gave me, he gave me a scenario one day. And he showed me in the spirit, us, as people, that is not in their places, that don't know who they are. Even though you're a mighty person in the Lord, even though you have the authority, and he showed me in what he had gave me, and I saw the enemy he blocked. And he looked, and he was like, oh my God, there's Asia. Oh, she got that power. I don't mess with her. And then he looked again, and he see this one, and he see the same thing. And he said, whoa, whoa, he started backing up. But then he looked again and said, wait a minute though. They're not walking in their power. They're not walking in their authority. They don't know who they are. And right before your very eyes, he starts snatching. He started taking. He started snatching. He started taking. Why? Because you are not even aware.
Amen.
You are not even aware. You don't even know what's going on. Because you are not walking in, even though you have that power and you have that authority, and it is in your life, but you do not know what you're doing because you don't even recognize who you are.
Come on now.
And so he comes and he sneaks up and he steals. 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 Right before your very eyes. He don't just, he come right up in your face because you don't know who you are.
That's right.
Amen.
You don't know who you are. Even though he see who you are. He see who you are in the spirit. But you're not walking in it. Because you can't see it. And you don't know it. So he comes up and he takes from you. And he steals from you. And in order for us to be able to recognize who we are in the spirit, we got to. We got to. We cannot be in a mistaken identity. But we've got to be able to recognize and everything. So when we are in prayer, God, he alerts us. And he wakes up our spirit. And he calls us not to be dead. And he calls us to be alive and alert. And you don't miss nothing. But everything that you're supposed to have and everything that you're supposed to get, you get. Because now you are being charged in the spirit. And you're alive and you're awakened. But it takes prayer to do something. In order for you to be able to take back what the enemy has already taken from you. Oh my God. For our most important weapon that we can ever possess is prayer.
That's right.
That's the most important weapon we could ever have. Is prayer. Why? Because it touches the heart of God. And without prayer, we are powerless. We have nothing. We have nothing. But prayer does wonderful things. It moves mountains. It causes the enemy to behave in your life. And that's why the Bible said men ought to always pray and not faint. Because he lets us know that if we're not praying, then you're going to faint. Because you don't have nothing to sustain you. So in order for us not to be able to faint, we got to pray. We have to pray. And we have to do it constantly. It has to be a constant thing within us. It's very important that we pray. Because the enemy, yes, he do. He wants us to walk around in mistaken identity because it takes away the defenses. It takes away our defenses. And when our defenses are weakened, we're subject to get whooped. We're subject to get knocked out. Because your defenses are weakened. So you're subject to get knocked out. So it's time for us to be able to strategize.
Yes.
And come into the power of God. So even now, we're just going to talk about, I'm just going to give you a few of the armors that we need to be able to put in. The weapon of warfare. Give you a few of the weapon of warfare, and then we're going to and we're going to talk about the armor, Ephesians 6:10. And it said, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Yes. Now that's saying something right there. Finally. Now why did he say finally? Why did the Lord use that statement? Finally, my brother.
Okay. That's right.
Finally. Because it might have took you a long time. But finally. Finally came. It finally came. My brother.
Yes.
Be strong in the Lord. And of the power
on
There
now.
were some things that happened or came your way that knocked you off, and you didn't realize that you already had the power
Come on now.
to be strong in the Lord and of the power of His might. Of His might. Okay? Not your might. Because you don't have no power in your might.
That's right.
The only power you have is the power of God. But in your might and of yourself, you don't have no power. But you know what? Sometimes we try to use what we got. We use what we got, and that's why He said finally that you stop beating your head up against the wall. And you realize that you're not going to go anywhere until you put on me. Because on your own, you can't do nothing. So finally you came and you brainstormed and you got to the conclusion that without Him, you can't do nothing.
Finally. That's good.
So we have power in God. So this power is just for us, blood washed. People of God, bought with a price, saved, anointed. And we have this. This is what we have, the benefits. There's benefits in serving Jesus Christ. There's benefits, and this is one of our benefits. Okay? So he said, in Ephesians 6 and 12, he said, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers. So let's look at this. We wrestling against the whole host of Satan's army.
Amen.
You ain't just wrestling by yourself, but you fighting an army. He ain't coming alone. He bringing a host of his demons to come at you because he playing for keeps. He ain't messing with you. He playing for real. So now we got to put on the armor so that we'll be able to stand in the evil day. We are fighting principality. So even when we get ready to pray, the first thing we have to do is bind the principalities. In order for us to be able to get to the purpose of our prayer. We have to first come against principalities. We got to first come against power. We got to first come against wickedness of darkness of this world. We got to bind all of that before you can even get to where you need to go. Because this is the host that's working against you. This is what you're fighting. We're talking about a battle. We're talking about a war. But God has given us the authority. We got it. We got it. It is in us. He has given that to us. He has given us the authority and the power to be able to come against the spiritual host of wickedness in heavenly places. We got to be able to go up there and pull that stuff down. So this is the reason why you pray. This is the reason why you pray. Because you first got to encounter, you first got to subdue all of that before you can even get to the request.
That's good. That's real good. Amen.
Got to come against that stuff.
That's right.
You got to be able to bind it. You got to be able to pull it down. You got to pull it out of the heavens. Because that's where it starts at. It starts in the heavens. And that's the battle that we are fighting. And let us know that we are not wrestling against flesh and blood. So I can't be mad at you when people are allowing the enemy to rise up in their life and do what they do. So we have to know for a fact that we wrestling not against flesh and blood. So I can't look at you and be mad at you, but be mad at the spirit that's operating in your life.
Come on now.
So that's what I have to be angry with. Not you, but the spirit that is operating in your life. So this is it. You know, even the commandment that God has given up to us, we can even begin to do the covenant and the promises that He has commanded us. Because there's a promise and a covenant that God has given to us that He will protect us, that He would abide with us, and He has established that covenant that He would keep us. And so really have a lot. And I'm looking at our time. So I don't want to go over the time that we have. So when we put on the whole armor of God,
Amen.
so that we can be able to withstand in the evil days. Because God has given us power. And we can understand, and we want to understand that things are changing. Things are changing. And we have to be able to change with the times. And we have to be able to change with what God is doing. There are so many things that I have to share for the weapon of warfare. But we're going to wrap it up, and we're going to bring it more back at a different time. But we just want you to know that the days are evil. And even as believers, you are under attack. So in order for us to be able, we need to put on our armor. Because these armors are what helps us to ward off the attacks of the enemy. For it is time to become radical.
Yes.
That's it. That's it.
And we can't become radical by being comfortable. So we're going to have to get out of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
Okay? We're going to have to get out of our comfort zone. We have to put on the war mentality. And if we don't have a war mentality, we're not going to be able to do anything. But our mentality have to change. It have to become a war mentality. And we have to even allow the revelations. And we have to put a demand in the spirit so that we can be able to go to the next level. The next level of prayer where God is trying to take us to. So I challenge each and every one of you to plunge into the deeper things of God. Because there's so much. There's so much. There's so many things that He has for us. And if we just start by praying, seeking the face of the Lord, having that relationship, going deeper, getting out of ourselves, getting out of our comfort zone, and going deeper in the things of God. There's so many things that He wants to introduce to us. There's so many things that He wants to introduce to us. There's so much that He has for us. This is just the surface. We haven't even begun to tap into the things of God and the things that He has. We are still on the surface, but we got to go deeper. It's time for us to go deeper. So I challenge each and every one of us to plunge into the deeper things. Plunge in, dive in. And there are so many other things, but we will at another time come back and give you the rest of the strategies. Amen. So we just want to arm ourselves likewise. Just like Jesus suffered in the flesh, we got to arm ourselves likewise. Because God is an awesome God. He's a mighty God. He is an omnipotent God. And He's calling us to go deeper. We can't stay the same. We can't stay in the same place. We have to. Have to go deeper. Have to. There's more. There's a movement of following the Spirit that God is trying to get us to. Amen. So we got to get there.
Amen.